All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful day here in Northwest Arkansas, and I am with my friend Stephen Holman. Stephen, I always really look forward to talking with Stephen because he's got a tremendous background working and leading the pop-up shop and roadshow business at Sam's Club. And I get really excited every time we talk because I see pop-up shops and roadshows as a huge opportunity, if not the biggest opportunity for a young and growing consumer product company to test a concept, to develop insight for themselves, but also give something to the retailer to show them what they're all about, what their capabilities are. So, like I said, I get super excited about these conversations. But Stephen, welcome. Thank you so much for making time to visit today.
Hey, thanks, Matt, for joining me in your conversation today. I look forward to sharing some information.
Yeah, great. So, you and I have had a lot of conversations over the years. You've worked with a lot of companies since you've stepped away from Sam's Club that are looking for opportunities to grow. And you would agree with me, right? That pop-up shops and road shows, first of all, why don't you define what that is for anybody that doesn't already know? I'm assuming that they know, but why don't you define what that is exactly?
Right. A pop-up shop is a chance to bring your item to life inside a club. Typically, when you go into a club, everything's online or in line that's you buy. Pop-up shops are a chance for small companies to come in and demonstrate, educate, and talk to the member and gain feedback over a short period of time in just about any club you want to go. And you can do it really small in just a few clubs, or you can do a national program. Just depends on your capabilities.
Yeah. And so this is something that both Sam's Club and Costco have not only done, but been quite famous for over the years. And the power of the program is, instead of having to come to Bentonville, for example, have a conversation with a buyer and try to convince that buyer to give you nationwide distribution, it's an opportunity for you to say, listen, why don't we just do these road shows? We'll staff them ourselves, we'll merchandise them ourselves, and we can do 2 or 3 or 4 or half a dozen or whatever that number is close to home, where we can keep a really close eye on things. It's a great way to get your product out in front of consumers and get a good sense for how it would perform.
Yeah, it's really a great chance for you to establish your product and prove your product. The buyers on Sam's, they just don't have a lot of leeway or flexibility when it comes to an item. They want something, if they're going to take a chance, since their SKU so limited, they want to have a winner. So this is a chance for you to go in there, sell some items, and really prove your data. And then once you have some proven data, you can go back to a buyer and say, we did X number of dollars in 10 clubs, 15 clubs at a certain time. This is a feedback the members gave us. So it's really just a chance to prove yourself. Otherwise, you're just sending a PowerPoint or a presentation to somebody and they really don't have any idea unless the product's already been established. But established product is a whole different level. This is a kind of an entry level, smaller suppliers, or innovation from a larger supplier that wants to test something. So you've got several options you can do there.
Yeah. Take us through the basic steps. If someone says, you know what, I've got 3 Sam's Clubs that are within a couple hours, drive of where I operate from, what would be the steps involved in developing a proposal, pitching that proposal, and then seeing that come to life?
Well, first of all, we've got really good relationships here in town. I used to work on that team, and I know the intricacies of what it takes to bring an item to life. So you've got to, if it's a food item, you've got to have certain food safety standards. If it's general merchandise, it's got to be, your packaging's got to be on par. You've got to have certain insurance requirements. You've got to understand what the club model is. If you're not a club member, I would highly suggest you become a club member before you even attempt to do this, because you need to go in and understand what the members want. It's in between retail and bulk. So you don't have to change a lot of your stuff, but you do have to go in and be prepared to upsell at a discounted price, because you can't compare retail to retail, because members are paying to shop the clubs, and it could be anywhere from $50 to $100. So you've got to give them a value for that membership that they're purchasing.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a really good point, and I think it would be obvious to a lot of people, but context is absolutely key in these situations. You need to be, if you're thinking about doing a road show or a pop-up shop at Sam's Club, you need to be in the club. You need to be seeing, how the clubs operate. You need to be seeing how the members flow through the club. You need to be seeing what other pop-up shops and road shows look like. So it would really behoove you to spend as much time as possible really getting to know that operator. Is there a sweet spot? I know you've had a lot of successes that you've been directly associated with. Is there a sweet spot when it comes to pop-up shops and road shows, when it comes to merchandise category or retail price point?
If you walk through a club and you see I'll just make it really simple. If you see some Lay's potato chips, you probably want to stay out of that category because potato chips are potato chips. You want something that's new, innovative, that's really on trend right now. It could be like functional beverages are really on trend right now. Energy drinks are on trend right now. Gourmet food is on trend right now. You've got outdoor living, could be canopies, could be biking accessories. So it's whatever really is on trend, and it's whatever your passion is for your product. So I would stay away from things that you see every day in the club because they're not going to change an item just for that. So if you've got something that's new, that's different, all natural, organic, it's vegan, it hits all those check boxes, that's really where you should focus your energy.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point because I think a lot of people might assume that road shows, it's about consumable products, but it could be canopies, it could be just about anything, pots and pans and all kinds of things that are demoed or shown in these shops. Now, let me ask you a question. I really don't know. Does the roadshow program extend outside the club? Are there programs that would execute on the sidewalks of clubs?
You could have something like that. Typically, it would be more marketing materials, but not if you're cooking something. You could cook something on a trailer and bring it in and sample it. But typically, unless you just have marketing, like we did some jerky one time, they brought a big monster truck in there and they had just a lot of marketing from the monster truck, a tent, a canopy. They had the driver of the monster truck doing some autographs. So you've got a chance to really play in that space too. So if you do have a celebrity that can endorse your product or stands behind it, if you could get in for a signing or an autograph session one day, that would really, really move you up towards the top. But Sam's is going to vet that person to make sure it meets their standards of athletes, of celebrities, of whatever that might be, or music people. So just kind of have to be careful it's a kind of a conservative club model. So they want conservative people in the club, but they want popular people. So don't take it wrong, but they want conservative people that aren't really pushing a lot of buttons.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it used to be that the roadshow program would operate on a commission basis, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but there wasn't an upfront cost to be there. There was just an expectation that you were going to remit a percentage of your sales to the club for the benefit of being there that day. Is that still the case?
Yeah, what you do, you'll set up your item inside the club system. Once you get approved, you get a vendor number, which is huge because then you have a Walmart Stores Inc. vendor number that makes things a lot simpler in life when you get further down the road. But what you do, you set up your item, you give them a cost of that item, they're going to mark it up a certain percentage, and then whatever sells, it goes through the register, and you guys, this is the good part, you guys get paid within 10 days for whatever sells through the register. But you are responsible for getting the merchandise in and out after the show. And then you typically go to another show and do another one and another one, and another one. But all this stuff is scheduled. It's choreographed really well by the club team. So you'll know where, when you're going and what their expectations from sales to marketing, because you'll have to send all this stuff in advance to what your booth looks like.
Yeah.
And, if you kind of think of a trade show, it's very similar to a trade show booth. So it's a store within a club.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, though. They don't have to travel with their own POS system because they're going to be, it's called pay from scan, right? So everything's going to run through the Sam's Club register, and then you're going to be paid. You're not going to be collecting money at your pop-up shop. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, what else is involved in, obviously, as you said, you've got a lot of expertise in this area, and the easiest way would be for people just to come to you. But in terms of putting together the proposal and getting through the approval process, have you seen roadshow programs approved with just one club, or is there, again, a sweet spot where they would want you to do 2 or 3 or 10, or is there a magic number?
Well, there's not really a magic number, but for the benefit of the merchants who have a lot of stuff on their plate, it's easier for them to approve something that's going to go in 15, 20, 50 clubs than it is one at a time. They would much rather see some volume. And you can do that. So if you're located in Dallas, there's 20, 30 clubs in Dallas. You could spend your whole time in Dallas. If you're in Arizona, if you're in Florida, you can do the same thing. So it doesn't have to be, it's probably not going to happen. If you do one club, then expect to go on the shelf, that's probably not going to happen. It's really about, if you get your high sales, your low sales, throw those out, you're going to be somewhere in the middle. That's what your actuality is. And that's really where you're going to come back to the merchant and say, this is really what the core product did. And we did demos. We got interaction, we got member feedback, and that's really what you want to go to. But to start, you would just need a presentation that has what your item is, all the details about it, all the particulars about where it's made. If you focus on made in the USA, supply chain's really kind of interrupted right now. So if you do have something that's made in the USA, that I think puts you up on another box. They were looking for, and especially made in USA diverse suppliers as well. So if you have that box, you can check as well, or woman owned, anything that you can do a certification that's a national certification really would move you up to the top of the line.
Yeah. You said something a moment ago that, if I'm honest, I would say I didn't realize. You said that you go through the process of, applying, you're then given a vendor number, which vendor numbers are very, very coveted. What you said that I didn't realize was it's a Walmart Stores Inc. vendor number. So if I'm understanding you correctly, that means that you would then be able to kind of have an expedited process as you were looking at Walmart.com or even getting on Walmart store shelves, because you already have a vendor number. You're already in the system, correct?
You're in the system. So marketplace is a little different, but you are in the system and you have been given the credentials to do that. And your insurance is verified, your food safety is all verified as a company-wide chain, as an enterprise. So you really, once you get that through the pop-up shop program, and they were really good about onboarding people pretty quick. And I know a lot about that as well. So that's really a big feather in your cap if you can get that vendor number from Walmart Stores Inc., even though it'll be tied to Sam's account. It is a enterprise number.
Yeah. So the last thing I'll touch on, and then I'll let you get back to doing what you're doing, because I know you've got a big business to run yourself. But a lot of people don't realize when they look at pop-up shops and road shows, they think in terms of the volume that they're going to drive during the events themselves, and maybe generating some customer awareness. Having a great test market, getting out in front of a lot of people in a high volume area, high traffic area. What a lot of folks don't realize, though, is it's a great opportunity for you to be developing some financials, if you will, that you can then take to the buyer at Sam's Club or to a buyer at a Walmart store or at Walmart stores, rather. It's a great opportunity for you to go to the next level. So the idea is that you stay at road shows. The idea is that you move from road shows to .com to then to Walmart store shelves. Is that right?
The progression really should happen like this. You come in, you do some pop-up shops. From there, you do 10, 20, 50, whatever it might be. And then from there, you should go on samsclub.com. Once you go on samsclub.com, then you start kind of get into the next phase. You spend some money on marketing, you prove yourself there. Then you've got a really good chance to go on inline at Sam's. If you jump into Sam's inline, that's going to be change your packaging. It's going to be a bulk size. If you're offering 10 varieties at the pop-up shop, they're probably going to narrow it down to 2 or 3 for inline. But at that point, it's if you can go to Walmart, walmart.com, but your packaging is going to change because it's a different industry. It's a retail versus a club model, but it does give you the data. It gives you the expertise now that you're funneling business through a major corporation. You're in 500 doors. You're on their major website. So you're learning the whole way. And that's probably the biggest thing I can come away with this, that the pop-up shop is a way to start learning how to get into the mass merchants business.
Yeah. And even though Walmart and Sam's Club are operated as two very separate businesses, they do pay close attention to one another. And there is even collaboration across businesses to some extent. So it is a great opportunity to get your feet wet, if you will, working on the club side and then inching your way, by way of .com, and then back into the store side as well. Absolutely. Stephen, what would be, I know you work with a lot of companies that are interested in using pop-up shops and road shows as kind of an on-ramp into the club channel and even into, mass retail more broadly. What's the very best way for someone to get in touch with you to initiate a conversation?
Well, I'm gonna give you my phone number. It's 479-366-2868. That's probably the easiest phone call, text. My email it's Stephen, Stephen @ Lane 19consulting.com.
Very good. Stephen Holman, it's great to see you. Congratulations on the wedding the last couple of days, and I appreciate you making some time to visit. If anyone has any questions or would like to talk more, Stephen is a tremendous source of information in this area and a great deal others, and I would encourage you to reach out to him. Stephen, have a great day. I appreciate you making the time.
Hey, Matt, thanks a lot.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.